Hi, I'm Jordan McDonald, staff writer with GovCIO Media and Research, and welcome to GovCast. Today, I'm joined by Matthew Fuqua, technical lead at VA's Platform One. Matt, thanks so much for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Matt, you have a really interesting role within the VA in terms of software modernization, thinking about the agency as it moves from legacy programming into more modern and emerging, technology and software. Could you help me understand Platform One as a whole and what spurred the creation of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Matthew Fuqua, I've been at the VA just over 10 years now. I've had the pleasure of working here. And I started Linux team and we did some automation and started getting into containers. And then about 5 years ago, I moved to the TPS organization, Technology and Platform Services. And we were trying to look and see what was next. You know, we started with physical hardware, and then we went to VMs, and then where do we go from VMs? And then that logical next answer was containers. So we set out to design an enterprise container platform for the VA and for our modernization goals. So we went and talked to the Air Force, Navy, and every agency you could name, and we listened to what they were doing, and we stole little pieces from each of those and tried to produce the best platform we could. So that's how I got started. It was part of our modernization efforts to try to get ahead of the future and be ready for the veterans.
That's awesome. Could you help me understand how Platform One has contributed to the VA software modernization goals?
Yeah, so there was four things that we wanted to achieve: speed, stability, scale, and security. And so we looked at those, and we designed a platform where it would be easy for developers just to jump on, take their code, produce a container, and deploy it so that it was easy and repeatable. And so we spent a lot of time building a platform that was scalable, that had security in mind, and we set that up, and so that basically developers don't even have to think about the platform anymore. They just write their code, worry about their code, and move on. So it's an enterprise hosting service that is in multiple CSPs, on-prem, out in the business. It's the exact same platform. We built it as container. We build it as infrastructure as code. So it's exactly the same no matter what it is. So if it runs in one place, it's going to run in the other. So it gives you a nice portability and reliability.
Yeah. You mentioned working with different agencies to get some ideas from them. Could you help me understand that? How is that, synergy or idea sharing function within Platform One?
Yeah, and that still goes on to this day. We still meet with those groups and talk about it, and we share our experiences now, which is always fun. But yeah, the biggest one was the Air Force, of course. You've all heard of Platform One and all the cool things they're doing, and I wish I had their budget and their number of people. But what we learned from them is that we want to focus on one platform first. We might add additional platforms in the future, but focus on that. And so, we have a team of about 5 people that run our platform, and they gave us insights and what they've learned in the past, like building containers and hardening them. And so we actually use a lot of their containers from Iron Bank, and we modify them, of course, for the VA and specialize them so that they run here. But great insights on what they've tried and failed. They even went in and built their own open source platform, which we certainly don't have the resources for that. But they were very instrumental, and of course the Navy also was a close second.
Yeah. And so this containerization, it's really interesting hearing about it from the Air Force VA. Help me understand how that drives innovation and development, and how that allows software developers to, just build without having to think so much about the code, as you said.
Yeah, so before you'd put in a ticket and they'd build out a big environment, and then you would finally get access and all those things. So those were not fast processes before, but now we can provision you within an hour, and then you have the keys to the car. So you could build. We definitely put some limits on there, but you can build containers, deploy them, and test them out at your leisure. You can you have full control. It's one of the things like. The cloud gives you that capability. It's the same kind of concept, so that we took all the barriers to entry for just the developers and just let them focus on their jobs.
And so I want to like double down on that, understanding that you've taken away some of these barriers, some of these things that have been holding back developers. What then, I guess, with that extra time, with that extra energy and effort saved, what are they able to build off of that?
So, we took away some barriers, but we also took things like security and pushed it back down to the development side. So security is day one. So before, they would develop a product and then it would go to the security team to do some checks and then they'd have to go back. But we're actually in their IDEs, they can look and see, oh, we've got these vulnerabilities and, even suggestions on how to fix them. So, that gives them the tools so that instead of taking a couple week process, they have the tools there for themselves to go ahead and do it and test it and try it out. By taking that security and pushing it left, then they're already ready for production at that point. So it just compresses. It's truly DevSecOps at that point, which is a hard goal to achieve. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, as you mentioned, it's a hard goal to achieve. The security side of things is always top of mind. I know cybersecurity is big at the VA. It's big at a lot of federal agencies. It's big everywhere. How, as you're building out Platform One, are you focusing on that cybersecurity aspect and taking it away from software developers so they can do what they need to do?
So we don't take it completely away, but we're partners with them. But at the platform level, most of those vulnerabilities are at the platform level, and so we take care of that. We patch that. We have a highly available platform, so we actually patch on Tuesdays during the day, and they don't even know because the coolness of Kubernetes and containers. So we take care of as much of the security as we can, and then the security that's related to their application, their binaries, their libraries. We work with them to fix those. So it's a collaborative process, and once a development team's been onboarded, there's a couple iterations of that every month, and then they actually are pretty good at it at that point, which makes it helpful if something comes out 0 day or something like that. It makes it faster for us to implement a fix and test and then actually do the deployment. So we're taking something that used to be like a 30-day process and shutting it down to, could be minutes or hours or, a day to, just to be safe.
Wow, that's awesome. And so like understanding how often do you patch and, implement fixes? You said on Tuesdays?
Yeah, so every month, we have a monthly schedule, but on Tuesdays we call it Patch Tuesdays, which sounds fun, right? But it's not. But yeah, we have four environments, dev, test, pre-prod, and prod, and so we roll through those environments. So by the time we get in production, we've tested all these security patches and updates for a good 30 days. So. And then, of course, we work with the teams on their schedule to fix stuff related to their application.
That's so awesome. And so, understanding that this is sort of like the pinnacle of DevSecOps and where we can go with software development, what does the future of Platform One hold? And what initiatives are you working towards making the platform better and bigger?
Yeah. So, goal number one, increase adoption and integration. And so we're, bring on more teams and get them in this DevSecOps process, and then always enhance security. I've got a meeting later today about that. So we're trying to increase the platform security itself. I didn't mention earlier is we're continuously scanning. So if it's running, we're monitoring it, even to the point where we're downloading these, the database from NIST and the different places every hour. If it updates, we'll know, very quickly. So security enhancements, that's a big plan. And then also in expanding DevOps capabilities. We have some cool things called like Dev Spaces, which actually gives you an IDE and a containerized environment that you can use from a web page. So we've seen some teams just come on and, they create this, their environment image for themselves and share it with their team members. And something that used to take a couple weeks to get an environment set up on their desktops, is available right away in a browser. So rolling that out to the larger VA, if they don't use Platform One or not, they can still use things like that. And then AI and machine learning is a huge one that we see coming and we're very excited about. So, right now we're in the process of taking these LLMs and building them out and containerizing them if we can, but updating them with the security. And well, one of those things about AI is security is not their focus. So we've got a little homework we have to do there. And so we're putting the pieces together so that they can use them like Legos and take these building blocks and actually take an idea that one of our fine doctors or research people have, and actually take it, put it in a container and do some testing and just make that process, easier. It's a complex process. So user experience, that kind of stuff, expansion of tools and services. We really want to do more collaboration and community building out there as far as in our agency and other agencies. And so we have like a monthly meeting now we have set up where we just talk about topics related to this. So the future is bright, and we're looking forward to some of the cool projects that are in the pipeline.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I've got to ask about AI since you mentioned it. Help me understand the rollout for that and some of the challenges and how you're tackling them. I know a lot of different agencies, including the VA, are looking at this technology, but I guess how does it all fit in?
Yeah, so everybody's excited about it. There's a lot of little pieces, like I said earlier, they really don't look at security, and so we're building out those pieces, little building blocks that they can add to what they're doing now to have those security checkpoint gates. So and agents or whatever you want to call them, and we're building a repository of that so that we can share that, and you're not starting from scratch on day one. And we have some plans there. I can't really talk too much about it, but the goal is to have a sandbox environment that you can come in and test your idea and see if it's even viable or what's out there already that you could reuse. So we're looking at how they develop and what they need, and trying to make sure that we're ready and have those pieces available.
Mm-hmm. And I want to follow up on what you said about the collaboration and the community building, understanding that when Platform One was being built, you worked with agencies like the Air Force to build it out. But now that it's up and running, how does that community network expand and you build upon it and create, like, I guess, the next generation of Platform One?
It's a wonderful question. I wish I had a great answer, but so far it's just been through inquiries through vendors that know what products we're working with, and so we get connected. And then, like I said, we got this. I think it's bi-monthly at this point, and we hope to expand that more, where we let them ask questions. We usually have a topic that we talk about as far as what we've learned and where our pain points were and how we got around them. And then, of course, we have all this infrastructure as code as for our platform itself. We work with them and make that available so that they can start running instead of walking.
That's awesome. Well, Matt, thank you so much for taking the time to chat, and I'm really excited to see what the future of Platform One holds.
Always a pleasure. We can certainly talk again.
Absolutely.